Hey guys, I'm Merrick Damon and welcome to the Merrick Damon Show. This show brings together the most important information in our industry, and I'm super excited to welcome Spencer Lyons here today from RealDax.
Yeah.
Spencer is a former student and he's going to be bringing us the latest information in technology and in cryptocurrencies. And I know you've all heard about it, and I'm going to explain it all to you today so you can take advantage of it. Guys, I want you to pay attention because at the end of this show, we're going to give away a free gift to the entire audience. So please pay attention because I'm going to give you a great gift today at the end of this show. So Spencer is a former student of the Merrick Damon Real Estate School, and he has a wonderful program that he's going to talk about, but he's going to educate you guys on cryptocurrency. So Spencer, give us some insight today on the market, real estate and cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I mean, you know real estate just as well as I do.
Sure.
And you know that this industry is actually changing.
Right.
Technology is bringing so many advances to this industry that things are happening in a blink of an eye. Right. So we really have to be prepared, stay up to date, sure. Which is why I can totally commend you for having this. I mean, I'm sure realtors watching this are going to really enjoy the benefit of it. Sure.
Yeah. So this audience is not just realtors. It's going to be investors. Oh, okay. It's going to be developers. Everybody's watching the Merrick Damon Show, Spencer. Okay. So, but what I want to do is I want to educate the public. Sure. And I know you guys out there are thinking, I've heard of Bitcoins. I've heard of all these things. Give us a general breakdown of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoins, what people are hearing about, but don't really know.
Sure. So what people need to know is that this is a digital asset that they can use similar to money. Right. There's a few out there that they can use exactly for real estate. And that's what we do. Right. We help people understand that cryptocurrencies can be a vehicle for their money to invest or buy residential or investment properties.
All right. Because I know we've had a few sales using cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
Would you talk about that? What do you know about it?
Sure. So there's been 2 sales currently, I believe, to date here in South Florida, in Miami. Okay. One for a single family home, somewhere around the $300,000 range.
Okay, great.
And then they also had a multi-million-dollar property. Okay. What I do know about the deal, and this is where technology is getting exciting. Sure. What I know is that the buyer and the seller both agreed on a cryptocurrency of their choices to receive the deal, but every ancillary service provider around, the agent, escrow agent, mortgage, title, they all got fiat or dollars.
Right.
And so in my world, I wouldn't necessarily call that a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency transaction until every single party is receiving this digital asset. Right? And then in the future, this is where we're going.
Yeah, because everybody's worried. They hear these terms, cryptocurrencies. People think money.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that? There's money involved.
Yes.
Okay.
It's similar to buying a stock.
Right.
In the market, right?
Sure.
It just really depends on what its backing is, who's the developer. Each currency or token or coin has its own purpose. Right. So it really depends on what you're using. For example, my company will accept Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, Dash as an example of the different currencies because of their age in the market as well as their backing in the market. Sure. So like some of them you wouldn't necessarily use for real estate because that's not their intended purpose.
Sure.
So people just need to educate themselves on the ones that are similar to cash or figure out exactly where they can utilize them. And so far our best use case is actually for real estate.
Wow. Real estate's everything, really. Yeah. Okay. So for you guys out there in the audience now listening, thinking, oh my God, what is that? Sure. What is Bitcoin? Do your research, educate yourself. There are a lot of terms in real estate and a lot of things that investors are looking at. And you go like, I don't quite understand. Listen, there are classes, there's information, there are things out there that can help you get involved, but you need to be involved and you need to know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about RealDax for a second.
Sure.
You guys started with another company. I remember the day you came here as a student to take our real estate class to get involved. You were coming from a technology background over into this real estate background.
Absolutely.
It's what RealDax does. So talk about it for a second. Please explain to the audience exactly what you guys are and what you do.
Sure. So RealDax is an artificial intelligence and blockchain platform for real estate professionals to find, evaluate, and then acquire the best deals for their clients faster than ever before. Now, we do this with massive amounts of data integrations, including the MLS that they use today, as well as public records, tax roll. We layer in financial algorithms and quality of life all on top of this residential market so that you can actually search for performance. So we run full financial performance on every single residential property every 15 minutes. So it makes a realtor's life significantly easier, speeds up the process. And you know what? They can close more deals faster.
Okay. So you guys integrate within Bitcoins, within real estate market, the MLS, because, my background is all MLS stuff.
Yeah.
And it's because, it's the way I was trained.
Right.
Its usefulness has changed over the years.
Right.
I remember, and I talk about this all the time. I talk about it in my book, and I talk about it when I speak, how I got in. And at first, the MLS was really like books. Then now, I'm not dating myself here, but now we're all in technology, and we were using MLS. And now our clients, oh my God, so many of them are using all these apps.
Yeah.
And a lot of our client base is very educated. They know exactly what they want. And they actually tell the realtors what they want now because they're on Zillow, Trulia, all these platforms. How is this playing a role in the future? What do you see it?
So the industry is congested with technology right now. And I mean, let me just ask you a quick question. How often do you absolutely love it when a potential client comes to you and says, yeah, but my Zestimate is this?
Yes.
You love it, right?
And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? What are you talking? Why do you know the taxes? That's my job to get to you. But right now, so you guys are listening out there. The clients today, they know what the taxes are, what they're going to be. They know where the property is. They know who the last buyer was. They know whether there's a mortgage on the house or not because there's so much information. We're inundated with information these days.
Absolutely.
How do you guys deal with that? And how do you make it easier, I guess? Because we do get questions like, I know what the price should be, because they're looking at Zillow.
And how they think they know, right?
Exactly.
It's a little bit of a hodgepodge out there of information. So there's two ways I can answer your question. One is the misuse of information.
Sure.
So I firmly believe that there is a good misuse of information out there. The Zestimate isn't as accurate as it should be.
Sure.
And so the next thing is the amount of places you'd have to go to acquire that information. Right. So that's one of the key indicators that we use, right, is how many different steps are realtors or even the end consumer going through to collect this information.
Right.
And so far, it's just too much.
Sure.
So it's a sad fact that the National Association of Realtors released that over 50% of a realtor's time is just spent in front of the computer trying to find this information.
Sure.
What if they could get that back? How much more money do you think you can make?
Wow. Tremendous.
So this is where we step in. This is where we aggregate all of that information, bringing it into one source. So they're getting the tax, the property, the history, everything under one platform so that people can move faster. And that's key in real estate.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're trying to invest in a property, you want to move fast. It's funny, my business partner says, I either want to be first to the deal or last. Right? Either one is the better spot to be in because if you're first, then you have you're the one claiming rights, you're setting your flag. If you're last, everyone's maxed out their options and that person's probably desperate.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
So you want to be able to move very, very quickly. And having that knowledge and having that information to make executable decisions quickly is very, very important to us.
So for you guys out there listening today, and I know you're saying, listen, I look at the tax records all the time so I can see the taxes. I get access to the MLS and I look at that. Sometimes what Spencer is saying is we bring it all together.
Yeah. We
bring it in one place. So you don't have to look in separate places. You can actually manipulate, see, all this data at one point. And that's so important because it does save you a lot of time.
Absolutely. And with what we're doing with artificial intelligence is we're even making our tools smart.
Right.
So the MLS has it and has all your drop down boxes and clicks. And when you finally find an area, it gives you like a mass throw out of information. We'll actually aggregate that information. We do what's called deal ranking, where we tell people in order best deal to worst deal based off of the criteria they're picking on that search. Right. So it makes it so much smarter when you're actually using this MLS information in unison with all the other information that we provide.
And I know for you guys out there listening, AI is such a big thing and there's so much about the future.
Yeah.
And, there is a lot of nervousness in my business.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously, realtors are nervous, buyers and sellers are nervous because it impacts our industry.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And everybody knows AI is the future, but they don't know, where does that leave a real estate agent? You guys listening? Where does that leave us as an industry?
Sure.
So we're nervous. Talk about how they can use it as a friend and how they shouldn't be threatened about it.
Definitely shouldn't be threatened. Our honest belief is that the realtor's not going anywhere.
Sure.
There's other parts of the real estate industry we do see being optimized.
Right. Wait, hold on. Listen out there, guys. You're not going anywhere.
Realtors are not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. So you're safe.
Yes, we definitely, because here's why. Realtors are that touch point. You're that
Sure.
comfort zone for those clients. You still need someone to, massage the process, right? Walk them through and let them know their options. You're still going to be
negotiations.
Exactly. Exactly. And here's where I see the shift. Similar to how the banks shifted from your banker back in the day, taking tickets and running around, to a financial advisor.
Sure.
I see real estate agents, same thing, running around, doing everything, trying to hustle and bustle, becoming real estate advisors, being that go-to expert, that subject matter expert, more than today, right? And less focused on the running around and more focused on the client.
Right. And that's important, because what it means to real estate agents is that, hey, man, crank up your game, get to know what's out there, make friends with people like Spencer and his company, and bring them into the process now so that you're ahead of the curve and not behind the curve.
Absolutely.
Those old days, a lot of times it's very funny, and I can talk about real estate specifically. A lot of real estate agents, the old school, they couldn't keep up with the technology. It was like, oh my God, how do I look? How do I get through the computer? How do I manipulate that? How do I set up a showing?
Right.
Well, that's going to change and get even faster. So you need to be ready. And I love your comparison to a financial advisor, because that really is what we've become in our industry. We're advising clients on their best decisions, because a lot of them know that the information out there, and there is no stopping to the information. It just keeps pouring in.
Yep. No, absolutely correct.
So tell me about RealDax. When did it start? What do you guys see as its future?
Yeah, so it's an interesting story how it started. My business partner, Michelle, when he came from Cuba to the United States, he didn't have much. Worked his way up, and eventually he knew that real estate was one of the greatest wealth generation tools out there. He was also a technologist, developing technology since he was very young, has his degrees in MIS. He is very, very savvy on that end. He was building enterprise technology for Toyota at the time. So not only was he eventually started to invest in real estate, but also building technology, he started finding some holes, right? Some gaps. As an investor, he felt it was a challenge to spend his money on real estate. And that shouldn't be the case. So he developed a little tool for himself, then showed a friend, showed another friend, showed another friend. And then next thing it knows, it started snowballing. Started just developing. And now we do so much to support the real estate industry, from the market reports we generate, from the financial analytics we can generate, from the ability to use cryptocurrencies for investment or purchase properties, to even lead development. So it's just become so much of an important tool for realtors to use.
Right, I love it, man. This tool is so great, and I know it very well. Listen, so why don't I ask you a question about your clients?
Yeah.
What do your typical clients say about your product, how they use it, what gives them their best benefit?
Yeah, so we actually just, one of our clients just closed a deal by using RealDax, so we just did a little interview, so I got a good insight on what the benefits were for that. One of the things that she really harped on, and what we hear a lot from our clients, is the speed at which they can access this information. They don't have to have like several tabs open and browse through. And if they are running financials, they don't have to click and paste, copy and paste, and transfer, and then run this through maybe their own Excel spreadsheet or own calculator they have. So it was the speed at which they had access to this. The other was the decluttering. Since we give you such a specific list, they don't have to go through and sort through so many properties or send out like 50 properties at a time to a client for them to go through. And
they're actually just choosing things that match their profile, right?
Exactly.
That's the AI portion of it, right?
100%.
Okay, great.
So that brings such a huge benefit to that, and as well as the educational aspect of our platform. A lot of realtors in the market. South Florida is the biggest, or at least Miami has the biggest association of realtors, with about 47,000 realtors in the entire country, just here in Miami. And in South Florida is about 80,000 total, I believe. So one of the issues that we come across is people get into real estate without too much of an understanding. So our tool really focuses on education, similar to you, right? We educate on financials. We help people understand the cap rates, the IRR, the rental yield, the cash on cash, what to look for, how to read charts, how to understand, and then how to use that in a sales capacity, right? Yes, it's easy to sell the crown molding or the big yard with the white picket fence and the extra bedroom for the new baby coming, but now you can sell the ROI. Now you can show them what the potential of that property is going to be. And that's a huge benefit for a lot of realtors.
Well, I hope you guys are listening. This is so important. Our industry is changing. It's changed in the past 10 years. It's changed in the past 5 years. It's going to continue to change. You have to be above the curve. Absolutely. You have to be in there knowing and doing these types of things, because you got to be ready for the future. The future's arrived, and where are you going to be in that thing? So here, let me ask a question for you in terms of, You.
Yeah.
All right. Since I know you, Spencer was a student at real estate school. Tell me about your experience personally in dealing with maybe real estate in Miami downtown.
Sure.
Because we both live downtown Miami.
Yeah.
So we love this environment, and there are lots of changing things happening downtown Miami.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit at all?
Yeah. I mean,
the market, whatever.
We're seeing a lot of interesting things going on with the market here in South Florida. Downtown's a funny place. There's so much development going on. There's a lot of international money coming in,
Sure.
And flooding that market. Personally, I don't think it's the best investment for your everyday investor, you know, your casual investor, I should say.
Exactly.
For maybe
or a new investor, for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
they're not seasoned.
Exactly.
They don't know it.
They don't know. You're right. They will fall into those pitfalls and get stuck there for a little bit.
You know, actually, they watched a lot of tapes that say "get rich quick,"
Yeah.
and then they go, "How do I do that in downtown Miami?" And then they lose big.
Yep.
That's the way. We got something to. I'm talking to somebody personally about that one. Okay.
Good. That's super vital information for these guys to hear. So I wouldn't say it's the best. It's an interesting market. It's scattered. Some of the areas like Hialeah, for example, that have been around for a long time, they're coming around on being properties that need some rehab. They maybe have some issues. Good for those fix and flippers or those short sales. It really depends on the savviness of your investor.
Right.
But I really think that single family homes right now is one of the hotter products in South Florida, to be honest.
Right. You know, I feel like we've touched everything. We've touched realtors. We just touched buyers and sellers.
Mm-hmm.
What about your product for a developer? Why would a developer really want to go out and use RealDax and see if it works out for them?
One of the good things about our product with on a development standpoint, they can actually enter in their properties into our tool to then have the financial performance run on individual units. Eventually we will be doing commercial, which they're probably going to like a little bit more because we'll be doing entire buildings versus the individual units. But right now it would be that capacity. The other thing would be how we can facilitate international investors who want to use cryptocurrencies on those actual units. So we can facilitate the movement of those cryptocurrencies, and you know what? We'll make sure that seller feels super comfortable and they'll get cash or USD dollars. So they can really feel comfortable with the transaction even though the investor is using cryptocurrency.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, I know you guys do a lot of educating.
Yes.
You're speaking all the time.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful because that helps do anything coming up, anything that people should be aware of, that they can just be educated a bit more about what you guys do.
So we're probably going to be doing an event mid-December, just kind of to wrap up the year, to highlight a few other exciting events coming up next year, some of our launch our announcements that I can't talk about now, but some announcements that are coming, some big ones for 2019. So look for us around mid-December for a end of the year soiree, just to wrap things up. But next year is going to be a lot more exciting.
Right. Yeah. 2019 is going to be a great year. I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So listen, I promised you guys a huge surprise on this show. What I'm going to announce right now is amazing, and you should take it and run with it. Spencer has agreed to give away 6 months of free RealDax usage. So I need you guys to put in the promo code. The promo code is MD6M. MD6M, like Merrick Damon, 6 months. That's what you're getting. So MD6M is what's going to give you 6 months of access to RealDax so that you can use it, explore it, learn. And I tell you to follow these guys. Spencer, can you just tell everybody how to reach you, what your contact is, website, so they know?
Absolutely. So like you said, that discount code again is MD6M. My contact information, you can get me on my email at S as in Spencer, L as in Lion at realdax.com. You can follow us on all our social platforms at the RealDax app, RealDax APP. And that will work on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you just looked up RealDax, we're pretty much everywhere.
Now, lastly, as I close out, first of all, it's been great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for so much information. Now, do you see the impact of RealDax being international? Right now, I know we're focused on the South Florida market. That's where we live. What do you think about its impact internationally as we grow and continue? Yeah,
so to be honest, we're just a few days away from expanding to South Florida. We should have the rest of Florida by next year. That's a little bit of a hint of what's going on. We've already expanded into Texas and talks of California, Chicago, and New York. So we're going to have a lot more national coverage coming up. International is going to be tricky. We really want the US first, full coverage there, but we're somewhat international because we do help work with these international buyers looking to deploy here.
Right.
So internationally is something we still do, but not necessarily on the product themselves, or at least the properties.
Right.
So that'll be coming as soon as we have the US. So let's see what happens there first.
All right, awesome. So guys, remember 6 months of free access to total access?
Total access. That's to the market reports, the financial performance run on the properties, the deal ranking, and the ability to now work with cryptocurrencies with their buyers and sellers.
Wow, you couldn't learn more. 6 months of free access. The code again is
MD6M. So Merrick Damon 6 months.
Wow.
You got this.
All right, thank you. So guys, thanks again. This has been a great show. Follow us, like us on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. You know how to get us. I appreciate it. And we'll be seeing you at the next show, which is coming up soon.